Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Your Trash Pandas are back in the Rocket City for one of the final 3 homestands of the season, August 12th through the 17th. The homestand includes Oktoberfest on the 14th, post-game fireworks on the 15th, a youth jersey giveaway on the 16th, and concludes with Kids Run the Bases post-game on the 17th. Get your tickets for the homestand now at TrashPandasBaseball.com.
Let's rock it.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Sure, Valley Equipment Rental takes care of the homeowner and his needs, but how about the pros out there? Well, Valley Equipment has the big stuff as well. The equipment you need to get any job done. I'm talking about the big track hoe excavators, from the 30,000-pound mid-size one to the big boy 50,000-pound units. Need a dozer on the job? Well, they've got them up to 105 horsepower, and that's a good-sized machine. Plus, Valley Equipment has more lifts than anyone around. Up to 80-foot booms that reach 56 feet with a 10,000-pound capacity. 2 locations, North and South Parkway. Check them out today.
This is Steve Moulton for Tellini's Italiano. Tellini's Italiano is located right in front of the Walmart, right off of University, behind the McDonald's. More or less catty corner from Topgolf. It's one of my favorite places to go to, and if you go there, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you need to try the baked spaghetti, add a meatball. Also try the baked ziti with meat sauce, add sausage. You'll thank me. Save room for some pizzas and paninis as well. And don't forget about dessert as well. The best cheesecake I have had here in North Alabama is at Tellini's Italiano. Find out for yourself today. That's Tellini's Italiano, right off of University Drive in front of the Walmart. Located online at Tellinis.com. That's TELLINIS.com. Let's get some Tellini's tonight.
You've been paying on that life insurance policy for years, but maybe you don't really need it anymore, or it's gotten a bit too expensive. Well, before you just let it expire, let Neighbors Insurance Solutions share with you some alternatives that you haven't considered. Don't throw away something that still may have great value for you. If you want to learn more about what Neighbors Insurance Solutions can do for you, call 256-763-7693. A death benefit could be a life benefit. Learn more at 256-763-7693.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Your Home Window. Now is the time to take advantage of their huge end of summer sale and get ready for the fall. Right now, all windows are 35% off. All exterior doors are 40% off. Now you get the whole door, just the price is 40% off. And get this, 0% interest for 18 months, as in no interest, nada, none. As always, the estimates are free, as is the lifetime warranty. To make an appointment, go to yourhomewindow.com. That's yourhomewindow.com.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Off and running here on a Tuesday. Coming up on Friday, we got Falcon football for you. Falcons getting ready to take on the Detroit Lions, and that's actually their second game, because you heard the Hall of Fame game last Thursday. How are you, Wes Neighbors?
Doing good.
There is really only one way to start this show here today. other thing I need is someone to say you're looking live more than anything. The incomparable Brent Musburger is kind enough to join us right here out of the gate on the heels of winning of the Pete Rozelle Radio and Television Award. How are you, sir?
You are listening live. How's that? That you okay today?
That's fantastic.
I'll just cut that as a drop.
Great. Great, guys. Always great.
Absolutely.
Talk to folks in Alabama when we're getting ready for another football season. And, man, it should be great, huh?
Absolutely.
Roll Tide, Auburn down there. Man, I had such great memories of those guys as well as – listen, they introduced 100 Hall of Famers who came back. Dan Fouts did a fantastic job at the banquet. And I have to tell you guys, one memory after another, Tony Dorsett, Michael Irvin, my goodness, the list goes on and on and on of great players through the years. And I was so honored. I guess the only sad part, of course, was I wasn't joined by Phyllis George and Irv Cross and Jimmy the Greek because they've all left us. But Jane Kennedy unexpectedly showed up and introduced me, and that was great.
I mean, I cannot help but wonder of you. Goodness gracious, the stories in particular. I did hear you on the Rich Eisen program about a certain game that you covered for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Someone Irishing up your coffee, sir.
That's the old Art Rooney story. I love telling it because it was an unfortunate weekend, guys. It was the weekend of the assassination of JFK. And so the colleges all called off their games. I was a newspaperman at the time, and I had coverage of Michigan State hosting Illinois when Dick Butkus was still in college. And it was a big-time Big Ten game. And then I was to fly out Sunday morning to Pittsburgh because the Bears were there. They were on a drive. The year was 1963, and they were playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the game was called off, and I went early into Pittsburgh, and I was upset with Commissioner Pete Rozelle, who was a dear friend of mine, but I didn't think the NFL should be playing. Pete actually told all of us that he wished he hadn't, but so be it. We got on the team bus on Sunday morning, and Lee Harvey Oswald was shot by Jack Ruby while we were in the bus, and we were listening on the telephone, and that put even a further damper on the day. But the Bears knew, listen, you had to go in, you had to play, you're in the quest of a championship, and they had to at least tie. Okay, not to win, but they at least had to get a tie. But I went into the old Forbes Field press box. I was one of the first guys in that come out with the early guys on the team, and I was kind of grumpy, and there was a coffee machine down there, and an old guy in a top coat was standing. I didn't recognize who he was. But I went down and groused about, this is ridiculous. I got to have a cup of Joe. And the old guy said, what's your name, young man? And so I introduced myself, and he said, Art Rooney. And well, this is the owner of the Steelers. And he said, what's your problem? And I said, Mr. Rooney, I really don't think we should be talking. Hey, listen. It is what it is. And he said, young man, I agree with you. But here, let me help you with that cup of coffee. And he reached inside that top coat and he pulled out a bottle of whiskey, poured a little in there, and heck, I was great for the rest of the day. And in there, you guys should honestly, I'm sure it's up there somewhere, YouTube. Mike Ditka had a run for the ages after Bill Wade hit him with a pass over the middle. Ran about 60 yards and finally just tumbled down with exhaustion. He breaks one tackle after another, and that set up the tie. They got out of there with a tie, and they went on to the championship, and the Bears defeated the Giants 14-10. Played that game in December. Obviously, it wasn't called the Super Bowl back then, but they beat the Giants, intercepted Wyatt Tittle 5 times, and so that's how I met Art Rooney, and he and I laughed about it down the road. He was a guy who honestly had bought the Steelers because he was very successful betting the horses. And there were a lot of gamblers back in the day who got involved in the foundation of the National Football League, and that was great. Look, if you go today and you watch ESPN, getting ready on a Sunday. I mean, they scroll the spreads and the over-under numbers right there underneath it, and then they're in the business of taking back. I mean, my goodness, how the world has changed. How the world has changed.
They were doing it. They were just doing it in the dark back in the day.
Well, there was also check marks involved back in the day, too, at least back in the 80s.
That's another Roselle story. After our meeting with the commissioner to approve of Jimmy the Greek, which basically was just telling anecdotes to each other at the NFL offices. It went on for about 45 minutes. And finally, the commissioner said, well, hey, thanks, and wish you luck. And I thought, boy, we're home free. And he said, but hey, do me a favor, guys. And now when the commissioner who's just approved Jimmy the Greek on the NFL Today says, do me a favor, this ain't a favor. You gotta follow this order. He said, please don't use -3, +7, -10. Just don't use those numbers in your segment. Okay, Commissioner. On the way back, I said, what are we going to do now? And then the three of us came up with an idea. Let's use a checkboard, offense, defense. And the Greek insisted on having intangibles at the bottom of the board. And so if all the checks were aligned on one side, go ahead and bet on the favorite. You know what I mean? So what the heck? It was what it was.
So you said you were a newspaper guy. How did you make the transition?
It's an interesting story. There was a play-by-play announcer working at CBS radio, the radio station, WBBM. The radio and the television were in the same studio. And he was assigned a talk show. And he hated it. He hated answering the phone and talking to sports fans. And so he would bring me over. Because if a youngster would call up and say, hey, I'm wondering who's the better, Willie Mays or Hank Aaron? The host, he'd wince. And I'd answer the call and be respectful of the man. And the general manager of the radio station, Bill O'Donnell, was very impressed. I mean, I wasn't trying to get a job or anything. I had a column at Chicago's American. So he called me in one day and he said, listen, we're losing our broadcaster. He's going down to do play-by-play down south. And he said, I'd like you to come over and replace it. And I was kind of shocked. And I said, well, how much? And I can't remember what the number was, to tell you guys the truth, or I tell you, but it was substantially more than I was making in the newspaper business. I recently married, had a young son, and I thought, well, that'll help the mortgage and that. So I went back to the newspaper and I figured, I can probably get a raise here and I'll be okay. So I went into this guy's office, was the executive editor, and I told him, and he said, what? You'd walk away from a column in a paper owned by the Chicago Tribune to work for a radio station? What, are you crazy? Why would you do that? And it was pretty obvious he wouldn't give me a raise. He was just bragging about the newspaper business. So I said, well, that's it, Mr. Carroll. I'm taking the radio offer. So off I go to radio. And it was working. I was doing news. They put a microphone up my house and every day. And the TV station in those days was just getting into the sports block. Local news was really big. And it actually eliminated the afternoon newspaper business. And they said, do you think you can come down and do a 2-minute sports segment for us? And I said, yeah, I don't see why not. So down I went doing the radio, and it was a long day, but I had a heck of a good time. And then at the end of the day, it was a 10 o'clock news in the Central Time Zone, not 11. I knew I was going to get a phone call from my buddy. Hey, Brian, Harry Carey here. I'm over at O'Brien's. Come on in. So off I'd go and get in the doghouse with the wife after I had a few. But Carey was one of my great friends, and they were wonderful days back in Chicago. And I miss them dearly. But that's, so people ask me, youngsters sometimes ask me, how'd you do it? I said, I wish I could teach you to be in the right place at the right time. But basically with me, I said, that's what it was. And I said, I studied journalism at Northwestern. I didn't study broadcasting. And I said, today's world, there's thousands of young men and women who want to get into broadcasting or are going to broadcasting schools. So, but it was a different era. And, like Frank Sinatra, I guess, saying, luck be a lady tonight. And and that's how I followed it to the NFL today.
So you won't remember, but you interviewed me. I played center at Alabama in 1986, and we played Penn State in Tuscaloosa, and you interviewed me before the game and back in 1986, and I remember it like it was yesterday at Bryan Hall.
Interesting, because wasn't there a 2-game package? Didn't you go up to Happy Valley?
Well, we did it for 10 years, actually. It was a 10-year deal. And we went to we started in 1981, I think, and it went to 91, I want to say, or 90.
It's interesting because that meant that Bear Bryant and Joe Pop, right?
Oh, well, Coach Perkins was the coach at that time.
Was he? He was the coach?
Yeah, and it was in Tuscaloosa, and Penn State beat us and then won the national championship.
23-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I covered it, like obviously both those schools, and that was great when they got together. The one thing I hope the SEC does now, to be honest with you guys, and I've said it publicly a lot, I want them to go to 9 games in the conference. I hate the layup game before Auburn. I hate it. I mean, I don't mind the week off or whatever you want to do there.
Yeah.
Rest up, but I just would prefer a conference game. I think the Big Ten has that correct, and the argument obviously is from the SEC standpoint. We're deeper. We've got better teams down at the bottom of the conference, and I think there's some truth to that. That there's more depth in the SEC. I wouldn't argue that. But I still, I'm a conference guy, and I still think the SEC would get at least 4 teams a year into the playoff.
Well, we thought that last year, Brent.
Yeah, so that so
Here comes the Indiana Hoosiers.
Yeah. So
and don't forget the SMU Mustangs.
Yes, sir.
And,
yes, sir.
But I like that they're going to reseed them, and play. You're not going to have automatic buys. I thought that from the very beginning. You made a mistake, and I hope we get to 16, and I hope we get to 8 games on campus. Even though they were blowouts, I really enjoyed, because I know those campuses and things, but I really enjoyed the games that were played on campuses in a playoff. Everybody asks me, what's the difference between the NFL and college? That was simple. I said the setting for college football is the best. I said the NFL football and the quality of the players and everything is obviously better in the NFL, but I said you cannot beat the atmosphere. And I always use Tuscaloosa as one of the places. And I always thought the sleeper was Clemson. And my goodness, now they're hosting LSU. Can you guys believe how good an opening weekend we have got?
It's going to be great.
Oh my
yes.
Goodness. Yeah. The coaches, but we got 1 versus 2 in Ohio. I love what Texas did. I love, the Buckeyes. We're going to prime time. We'll move this game. And Texas said, no, I don't think so. We signed a contract with play early. And that's exactly what you do. Get your butts into Columbus, go into that stadium, win the game, and then get the hell out of there and go to Austin. You know what I'm saying? So I love that. And then that night we've got LSU at Clemson. And then on Sunday, a little sleeper in there, Miami, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah, convicts versus the Catholics, chapter whatever. Here we go. And then, on Monday night, I'm going to be watching. Because, hey, guys, at the Hall of Fame back, let me tell you a line. But anyway, Belichick's debut is Monday night, North Carolina and TCU.
That's right.
It's going to be a hell of a game. But there was, so I want to tell you, great story. So there's this young gal from Cleveland, worked on a plain dealer, and she got the award. They give the Pete Rozelle Broadcasting Award that I was fortunate enough to win, but she got the Journalism Award, okay, for the best sports writer of the year. And so she was up, and it was really a very interesting speech to me because, women do have a little bit more difficulty in dealing with locker rooms and coaches than we did back in the day when it was just male sports writers. But the first coach she covered, believe it or not, was Bill Belichick. And that's back. He failed at Cleveland, but he was the coach of the Browns his first job. And she remembered that he would call her on the telephone if he objected to something she had written, and he'd yell at her, And then she said, what I didn't realize, she said, I was 28 years old at the time, and he just did not relate well to older women.
He's still not.
It's like you guys. There's a second pause, and then you just roar. I mean, it was unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? So, oh my goodness! I should have said when I got up and I followed it. I should have said, I hope you win it back-to-back years because Belichick's going to be here next year.
That's right,
and that's the truth. They changed the rule. You only have to be out of the NFL 1 year as a coach, not as a player, but as a coach to get the award. He'll be unanimous. He'll be there at the halls. Great times. Hey, you guys, what's your opinion on Nick Saban someday going to the NFL? Any chance he'll get the itch? What do you think?
So he can get the itch all he wants. If Miss Terry says no, he's not going anywhere. So they're talking to the wrong person.
That's true. That's true. I know her from way back in the day. First met her at Michigan State, and she was a stitch. She'd always give me an anecdote before one of the Spartan games that I'd cover him on. That was great.
Nick was on that Cleveland. He was the secondary coach for the team under Belichick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So coming up on the program tomorrow is Jerry Glanville, and when I reached out to Coach, Coach said, "Tell Musburger hello. Was always great to me." So I need your best Jerry Glanville story if you've got one.
There's not a best one because every time I was ever around him,
yes, sir,
he was a story. You know?
Yes, sir.
I mean,
we can vouch for that.
Yeah, he's not scared of attention.
No, and I'm gonna tell you something. I hate those teams. Who was I had a game? Goodness sake, it might have been Vermeil against him, and of course I'm very close to Dick. But this was when Dick was coaching, and he said, Brent, people like to make fun of Glanville sometimes. I'm gonna tell you right now, you got your hands full when you play against his defense. He'll come at you with different kinds of blitzes and moves all over, and always when you interviewed, you had great stuff going into the broadcast. He wasn't afraid to tell you what he was going to do. That was one thing I always liked about Jerry. Mm-hmm. And then he'd always have a couple of laughs with you going along. My goodness, say hello. Yeah, Jerry was great. But Vermeil said, beware, man. When you play him, do not take him for granted. Okay, it was interesting. He was playing. Glanville's offense back in that day had a run and shoot element. I don't know who the
Oilers probably back in the day.
Yeah, it was the Oilers, and it was June Jones was the offensive coordinator.
Yes, that's right. Oh my goodness, more great memories. What a week I've had.
So in terms of play-by-play as well as studio, I'm sure you've been asked ad nauseum, but at least my first recollection of you is play-by-play in the '76 NBA Finals, most notably Game 5. The 3 overtime game. And I know I've brought this up to you before, but I rewatched it and I did not realize, the clothing, who clothed Rick Barry back in the day, because man, oh man, was he styling in the pregame there for Game 5.
Now I tell you something. There's an anecdote associated with that game. So the Celtics held serve in the first 2 games in Boston. And we went down to Phoenix, and the Suns got even. So it was 2-2 heading into that Friday night. Now, it's payday in Boston, okay? So, and they started the game late. So when we got to the old Boston Garden, there were a whole bunch of fans out there waiting for us. But they weren't waiting to applaud or cheer. They were waiting to boo and throw things at us. And the 3 of us got out of the car, and I said, what the hell is going on? And going in, I'm a longtime friend of Red Auerbach, loved the guy. So I said, listen, I'm going right in to see Auerbach to see what's this all about. And okay. So now Rick Barry, he goes off to the Phoenix Suns locker room to hang out after we'd been nearly attacked in the street. And, of course, Mendy Rudolph, he went to the referee's room. So I'm all prancing, and Auerbach's got his usual group around him, his old buddies there. And I said, Red, what the hell's going on? Why is everybody mad at us? We're not, oh, Brent, don't worry about it. I just thought you guys were extremely pro-Phoenix. I just told the Boston Globe that the announcers were bad. They didn't like the Celtics. They were rooting for the Suns. And it sounded like you were getting paid by the game. But don't worry about it. It's not that. I just wanted our fan base to be ready for Game 5. I looked at him and I said, Red, you son of a bitch. I said, listen to me. I said, I was getting paid by the game. Understand? And I turned around and I walked up. Now I go down to the floor and I'm the only announcer there. The two guys are hiding. And a guy came after me. Actually, a security guard had to grab this guy.
Wow.
And everybody was half liquored up. And then, of course, at the one time, the crowd poured on the floor.
That's right. Attacked the officials.
Remember that? Oh, my God. Richie was the lead referee in that game. And onward we go. Is
that why you said in one? I think it was the second overtime that you were talking to a security guard saying we're okay. I remember that.
Yes, true, because they were still on us throughout the entire game. Now, the truth of the matter is, okay, Richie Powers and those guys let the Celtics get away with murder. Paul Silas called an illegal timeout, and they didn't.
At the end of regulation.
They're looking right at him. Okay, and the Suns should have been shooting free throws for the win. Okay.
Yeah.
So later that night we were back at the hotel with the Suns and McLeod and Bianchi, the coaches, invited, and they were just devastated. And I could tell no chance going back in Game 6, and the Celtics blew them out, won the title. But it's one of the most memorable nights that I had in the NBA, and during the era that I covered the NBA, I tell everybody basketball was different. I said the athletes they're not in the LeBron class, and even Michael was a different kind of athlete. But I said back in my day with the Celtics and the Lakers, they had to play team ball. They threw the ball around, and assists were really critical, coming down the floor and everything. But I mean, they're wonderful athletes today. I mean, there's no question about that. But it was different. It was a great era, great era for the NBA, and I was so happy to be a part of it, a little part of it. It was great.
Well, fast forward to the 2013 BCS National Championship game. I don't know if you're in the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame, but my partner here to the left really believes you should.
When you're a quarterback at Alabama, you see that lovely lady there. She does go to Auburn. I want to admit that. But she also this Alabama, and that's A.J. McCarron's girlfriend, okay? And right there on the right is Dee Bonner. That's A.J.'s mom. Wow, I'm telling you, quarterbacks, you get all the good-looking women. What a beautiful woman.
Wow, A.J.'s doing some things right down in
So if you're a youngster in Alabama, start getting the football out and throw it around the backyard with Pop.
So please tell me you're in the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame just from that call alone.
Oh, my goodness. So many memories of that. One was the game was a blowout, okay? There was no doubt about it. And basically, I was trying to compliment Kirk Herbstreit's wife, who I'd known for a long time. You quarterbacks get all the beautiful women, And Herbie just kept his mouth shut. He was scared about what was going on. Twitter was up and then picking on us. And there were negative stories that came out in the New York Times about me, and people were talking about it. And Catherine, she sent me the sweetest letter, and she was very nice about it. And, to this day, that's interesting. I was asked about that. I said, I got in trouble because I called a beautiful woman beautiful. How about that, everybody? So everything, comes around. But, and then to top it off, the old coach at Notre Dame, who's now at LSU, he calls me about a week or so later, and he said, Brent, I want to compliment you. I said, compliment me on what, coach? Brian, what are you complimenting me for? And he said, you took me off the hook. What do you mean? We were terrible. That night. But you're getting all the criticism. So it was, Brian Kelly was so much fun. You know, he was the son of Boston politicians. I don't know if you guys know that.
No.
Yeah, and you know, he's a good Irishman when he works around, and of course he got in a little hot water when he went down to LSU and took on a little bit of a Southern accent at a basketball game.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, exactly. He should, you know, you don't want to go down and ever use the South dialect unless you really are from the South.
But they don't even use the South dialect there. It's more of a mix of Irish. I mean, it's more of a true Irish talking. I mean, if you don't listen correctly, you can't understand exactly what they're saying. I mean, he'd be better off using that accent than.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh yeah, because some of those Cajuns down there, I've had a hard time understanding them. Oh my memories down there.
Yeah, Coach O, all you understood was "Go Tigers" at the end.
Exactly. That's all he'd ever say. You do an interview with him post game, "Go Tigers."
Well, to be in the same class with like an Ed Sable, Chris Schenkel, Kurt Gowdy, Pat Summerall, Frank Gifford, Jack Buck. I mean, I can't even imagine of John Madden. It just, I can't even, Leslie Visser, Irv Cross, you've already mentioned I'm sure this past week was quite the journey for you, sir.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's wonderful. I mean, it was a great trip, especially for the families and all. Every time you mention one of those guys, you know, I've got so many, you know, Lindsey Nelson, back in the day, he would do the Bears preseason games. And I, as a writer, I was his spotter. Okay. For, you know, I guess they played 4 preseason games back in the day. George Connor in the Hall of Fame, former great Bear lineman. And one night I prided myself on being the quickest spotter that anybody had ever had. I mean, I worked hours memorizing numbers, players. I'll never forget. I think we were in Houston. The Bears were in Houston, a preseason game. And I miscalled a receiver for the Oilers with a touchdown catch in the end zone, okay? And I was beside myself. And I was trying to show him who had really caught it as they were going to commercial. And he kind of put up his hand for me, you know, just remain calm. And we went to commercial, and he said, Brent, don't worry about it. He said, I'll get us corrected coming back. He said, not a big thing. Don't worry. And he was such a gentleman. And so he came back and, you know, corrected it right away, and on they went. But yeah, Connor was he was a fun analyst, being a former Bear, of course. In those days, there were 2 broadcast teams. One would be for the Bears and the other for Houston. And of course, then they changed that. They had regular play-by-play announcers for certain teams. And during the season, Ray Scott would do Packers games because he lived in the Twin City, always a Packer. He and Vince Lombardi were great friends. And all of those old... Kurt Gowdy, I got to tell you a Kurt Gowdy story. So Gowdy and Cosell were drinking after a banquet one night in New York. And they drank into the it was early morning. And Howard had a radio show. And Gowdy told me the story that Howard said, hey, Cowboy, he didn't call him Kurt, he didn't call him Gowdy. Cowboy, come with me. In case I get in trouble with my wife, I want you there to, I was with you. And okay. So they go up. He lived in a condo in New York. He didn't have a house. And Howard, and Gowdy said he opened the door. He took about 5 steps over the closet there that he opened up, reached in and grabbed a telephone and a microphone. He got a phone call from the studio, and he'd also picked up the New York Times that was outside the door, and he'd opened up the sports section, glancing at the stories, and they counted him down apparently on the telephone, Gowdy said, and all of a sudden, this is Howard Cosell speaking of sports. The New York Knickerbockers last night were beaten, and he goes into this about a 2-minute. He's looking at the New York Times. He's looking at the box score and everything. And then he goes into baseball. Spring training was coming up, apparently. talks about the Yankees and the Mets. And then he says, and that's it. Howard Cosell, speaking of sports. And he throws the phone back in the closet and he turns, Cowboy, that's how you do journalism. Okay. I mean, yeah, Cosell was a trip. And, so many memories of him and everybody.
Well,
they're great guys. They're great.
I can't thank you enough for the time. It's always great to visit with you, and congratulations on an overdue honor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so very much. And, hey, listen, guys, I hope that Alabama has a successful year. You know, I've always been a kind of a rural tide guy, so we'll see what happens. It's going to be a great race down there in that guy. You know, we're all waiting to see, is Arch Manning the real deal?
We'll find out. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate yes, sir.
I was going to give you one.
Yes,
I
sir.
met him
Please.
About 3 years ago. He came up here and played golf in Montana. His father brought him up. We had a lot of members at this club from Louisiana. And he was just, I had no idea that he was going to become a quarterback, too. His father, of course, had been a wide receiver and injured. But, he was up here playing golf. Nice, very nice young man. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Likewise. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Take care.
That is Brent Musburger there with us. I mean, that's a guy where you can say, read the phone book and just the stories, though. I mean, I had to get the Art Rooney story out of the gate. All right, let's take our first time out right here on The Drive. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's the Ford Summer Sales Event at Woody Anderson Ford. Hey folks, Bobby White back again, and I'm here to tell you now is the time to get the Ford you've been thinking about. From 0 down leases to 0% financing, we've got it going on this summer. Woody Anderson Ford has financing as low as 0% for 48 months, plus 0 down payment, plus 0 payments for 90 days, plus 2-year 25,000-mile complimentary maintenance. You can choose a 2025 Escape, F-150, Explorer, or a Mustang. Or how about 0 down lease, $499 a month for a 2025 Explorer, F-150, or Bronco, and just $399 a month for Bronco Sport, Mustang, and Escape. Again, these are 0 down with complimentary maintenance too. This is a 36-month lease with 0 down, 0 security deposit, just tax, tag, title, and your good credit. These offers end 9/2/25. It's our Woody Anderson Ford Summer Sales Event, so hurry on down. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement, it's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888 8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Back here on The Drive, West Neighbors, Steve Moulton back here with you. I mentioned yesterday that my neighbor across the street used the service at Woody Anderson Ford they come to you for the oil change.
Come out to home, work, wherever you are.
Well, that same neighbor had roof damage. And this guy next to me, well, I don't know if I saw Sam, but there is still in the front lawn of my neighbor across the street.
Those guys are moving so fast.
Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
All you see is Fleming on the side of the truck and work just going like crazy.
So
it wasn't me, Steve.
Is that you up on the roof?
No, definitely not. Not unless it's a special circumstance. Yeah.
So you still flying around pretty good with all the storm damage?
It's still hot and heavy. We've caught up quite a bit. So a lot of people now have, if they didn't really feel like they got a fair shake from the insurance, we're kind of helping a lot of those people, maybe doing some second inspections or kind of arguing with insurance over some things. And, a lot of times when you get something this big, they have to send in a lot of bodies. And sometimes those bodies don't have a ton of experience and they just need people to get out there and contact and, try to help them out. And so they might not get the best estimate in the world. And I know, because that's what I used to do. And I was probably one of those guys that they sent me to Hurricane Wilma the first time I ever did an adjuster. And I was on the roof and I was just looking around and I had no idea what I was doing. And I had like a moment of clarity. I'm like, what? This is a roof. I have no idea what I need to do next. So they're,
you've come a long way.
Yeah, you kind of got to give insurance companies a little grace right now, just because, something this big and so many people calling at one time that not everybody that gets brought in is going to be an experienced, so you might get a bad estimate and then, just talk to your agent and they should work with you through it.
So I told you last time that I had a door knocker.
Yeah.
Had another door knocker. Had another one, and guy called me out. I told him I got a roof guy. I said, I got a roof guy. Who's your roof guy? I said, Sam Fleming Roof and Restoration. Want to sell? Turned right around and walked out.
I have a good reputation with door knockers. They don't like me. Yeah.
A good reputation?
Yeah, I have a reputation.
There you go.
Yeah. No, I've almost broken my rule at door knocking a few times. I keep passing by my parents' old house, and I remember when the dang thing was put on because the guy that put it on works for me now, but he's too old to do it anymore. So that's how old that roof is, and I've been tempted to stop door knocking. And there's really no roofing companies in the area, and there's a lot of damage. Man, I can't break my rule. I might get somebody else to break it for me. I don't know.
I got an idea who you can get to break it.
Yeah. I know a couple guys.
Now, you guys do a lot of roofing and repair and everything like that. Mm-hmm. What kind of roofs do you do? Do you do metal roofing too?
We really do any type of roof. I mean, the only type of roof that I've never put on is like a terracotta tile, mm-hmm. And there just aren't really many up here. There was one off of Drake that I knew, and I don't know who did it, but there's not any tile roofs up here. But I mean, we do metal.
I've always liked the look of a standing seam metal roof.
That, in my opinion, that's the best roof there is. It just depends on kind of the trees around you and the design of the roof. But yeah.
Why is that?
Well, because there's no exposed fasteners. So like if you get like a barn metal roof, like they call it classic rib, you got the screws with a neoprene gasket around the screws. And when you compress it to the roof, it forms a seal. Well, they wear out in about 20, 25 years. So you can replace the screws. It's still cheaper than replacing the whole roof. But standing seam there's no exposed fasteners. Everything is bent, crimped, locked.
That's what I have, right?
Yeah, your back porch is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the rest of the roof. Yeah, your back porch. Yeah. Yeah.
Now he's double checking what he's got.
I should have never told you your roof would last forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my favorite roof. But it does depend on some things. You know, if you got a real cut up roof, you might not want all those locks and seams. You know, but they're trees, the leaves get stuck in the metal, and it can really cause pain. But yeah.
I never knew that.
It's fascinating roofing. I'm telling you.
I mean, you know stuff about roofing that I'll never know.
I've only been doing it for 20 years, one way or the other. Like I said, I worked for insurance for 10 years, so that's how I kind of have a lot of the insight into that. And you know, I worked with my dad, who was a GC, so I got a lot of insight into just normal building construction, and that's helped me a lot too. So I don't know. I never wanted to do the GC route where you have to coordinate 10 different people that don't care if the owner's mad at me. So I'd rather be responsible for one or two guys that are going to show up on the entire
As much as we focus on the roofing, the restoration feels like a whole other animal within itself.
We've done a lot of that. You know, we've had a lot of tree damage, broken rafters, fascia, soffit gutters. We do a ton of exterior work. We have done some interior work. I mean, if you get into cabinets and, flooring and a lot of intricacies like that, probably not the best company to go with. But if you're just talking sheetrock, drywall, painting, exterior, like I said, soffit, fascia, carpentry damage.
The thing
gutters.
that you can do really quick. When you get into other stuff, it
Yeah.
brings in so much other details, and that's not what y'all do.
Everybody's gotten so specialized, like the Kemp's flooring or the flooring places. I mean, they've almost got into like mitigation now. Like I think Roto Rooter is a mitigation company now. They do the dry outs and stuff. Surf Pro, I think they've got into roofing for some reason or another. So I don't know. I don't know, but everybody's gotten kind of specialized, like the cabinet people. I mean, it's just kind of hard for somebody like me to get into all that specialized stuff. But if you've got an insurance claim, and it's just kind of some rafters and some sheetrock and some outside work, where your guy. I mean, we re-bricked the outside of a guy's house down in 5 Points, had a tree hit his house. I mean, we can do all that stuff.
Wow. FlemingHSV.com. If you happen to be on the road right now, or 256-651-9440. Are you excited for football season?
I think I'm more excited for this season than a lot of seasons because
why is that?
Nobody really knows who the standout is. Georgia seems to be down.
Yeah, so I agree. I was talking to somebody. I had more trouble filling out my who's going to come where this year than ever. I mean, I had Texas in like fourth from the bottom, but I don't think they'll be fourth from the bottom. Auburn, I could see them last, and I could see them high up too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. I mean, I just think that there's so much unknown, and what's going to happen, I believe, is it's going to be like 2 seasons. At the beginning, you'll see, that first game for Auburn, who's right now in Vegas, is a dog.
That's right.
That's a big game for them. It's a big game for their team. Not necessarily because if they lose it, their season's over. I don't believe that. But it doesn't matter what I believe. It matters what those players believe and what this coaching staff believes. And if they lose that game, there's going to be so much heat, I'm not sure.
LSU, I mean, whether the guy said it's guaranteed natty if Nussmeier comes back, I kind of feel like they're jinxed now, but LSU's really good.
Yeah, LSU's going to be good, but I think they'll be good after Nussmeier leaves. They're having a great recruiting class. They have some issues on that team, though. I think they're still unanswered.
O-line.
Well, the O-line, and I think the defense is going to be very questionable. So I'm kind of, but yeah, they could be. They could go on a run too. I just think that there are going to be 2 to 3 teams that are going to be really that. I think Alabama and Texas and Georgia have the bones to be a decent team if their quarterbacks can stand the mustard. And I say that about everybody's all on this Manny kid, and I think he could be great.
Mm-hmm. We don't know.
But we don't know.
Yeah. Well, they had a pretty good quarterback before him. I mean, Quinn Ewers. I mean, he was good.
Well,
yeah, and he was drafted in the seventh round.
Yeah.
So,
I like Quinn Ewers.
I did too when he was healthy.
He was not healthy the whole senior year.
This is the first time, and we've been doing this for over a decade. When I showed him my ballot, he was like, yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. So I'm going to show you my ballot. I got Alabama and LSU playing right out of the gate in Atlanta. Is anything stand out there for you?
I think Hugh Freeze has been watching too much Ed Orgeron, and he's seen him hanging out with all those pretty ladies at the beach, and he's looking for his buyout check. I don't think he makes it to Thanksgiving.
Wow.
So what's weird is I went to lunch today with a big Auburn man, and he has friends that swear that Hugh Freeze took the job wanting to buy out.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And if you I don't believe that, really.
I don't believe that either.
But, I mean, if you look at it, kind of the way he's acting.
He's not helping himself.
What top-level coach wants to just,
I'll take $20 million.
I'm just saying what he said. I had never thought about it, but then you start.
I think in his core, he wants to win. I would like to believe he wants to win.
He doesn't seem to have the magic he had at Ole Miss. And I don't know. He's just says something's off.
Was that her name?
Magic.
That was Steve that said that, wasn't Wes. That's something Wes would usually say, but that was Steve who said that.
Maybe that's the missing component.
Yeah. Got too much pressure, can't think.
I guess we need to let that dog lie, huh?
Yeah.
Boy, ain't right.
That is FlemingHSV.com for and you know what? The next time you get a door knocker, tell him you got a roof guy. And his name is Sam, courtesy of 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Are we still on?
Yes, we're still on.
We may not have the magic, but we've got the roof magic.
Well, I mean, just look around your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And if someone in your neighborhood's had a roof replaced, if it looks really good, look for the sign in the yard. Bet it says Fleming.
I appreciate it.
100%.
Well,
appreciate it as always.
Hey, thank you guys. I enjoyed it.
Now it's time for a break. Play that magic.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
It's an amazing time in our industry. Things are changing so rapidly. With digital signatures and workflow software, we help our customers work from anywhere. This helps you save time and money and upgrade your technology. Like I said, it's an amazing time to watch our customers grow and succeed.
Just ask anyone. The Liosi Group.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Mike Owen at Owen Home Appliance Center. You know it's hot outside, so cool down with an upright or chest freezer in stock at Owen Home Appliance Center. And don't let those beverages get hot. Get an under-counter ice machine with a built-in pump for just $12.99. Or how about a fridge out by the pool or in the garage for extra cold drinks? You can get a scratch and dent 18 cubic foot refrigerator for just $3.49 while supplies last. Go to owenappliance.com to learn more. That's owenappliance.com.
Your Fox 54 weather brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. It's actually going to be a really nice night across the Tennessee Valley. We drop into the mid and upper 60s. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky as we head into your Wednesday. Temperatures climbing into the lower 80s. We drop into the lower 70s as we head into the overnight early Thursday morning. A partly sunny sky Thursday afternoon. Now we're climbing into the mid and upper 80s.
Your Fox 54 weather only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Talking ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Weekday mornings beginning at 7 a.m. only on 97.7 ESPN and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app.
64 ounce in a plastic mug, yes, a soda can come that way. The Slurpee machines full of neon green and the corn dogs from yesterday.
I'm not familiar with this one.
Bathroom's destroyed, the staff's annoyed that you're in here.
We're back to gas station chicken.
At 3 a.m., tell me what you need at this ungodly time of day.
Coach O.
Here's my position, and I've made it my sole mission. The only care for what we got is gas station chicken.
Chicken on a stick, if I remember correctly.
Got no choice in this,
from Coach O.
other ideas sticking. And I ain't going nowhere, friend, till I get my chicken.
Back here on the drive, walking up to Braves baseball. Is it bad now that I'm, while watching Braves baseball, I'm like, that loss isn't as bad as it could have been. All he did was give up 1 3-run home run, and we only lost 3-1. So I can live with that for a team that's now 29-9. The Brewers, not the Braves, 29-9 since June 1st. So it was all right. Joel Klatt took a shot at the Southeastern Conference. I'll pause for the shock. He was on with Colin Cowherd today, and Colin said a few things today as well. He got into his college football rant today. Oh, yeah, this is going to be great. But
there's no T in Cowherd.
See if you buy.
I thought there was 2 T's.
See if you buy. That's Klatt. See if you buy.
It's not a T, it's an H.
See if Joel Klatt is. If you agree with any portion of what he has to say right here.
What I think I would argue as well is that the transfer portal has created a disparity of talent rather than a stockpile of talent in 3-4 places. It used to be Georgia and Alabama had NFL players, first string, second string, and third string. And they're too deep, could probably beat your starters, but now that's no longer the case. And that talent has dispersed a little bit, and we're seeing that play out. Plus, I would just also mention, it's not lost on me nor anybody that doesn't cover that conference specifically, that as soon as everybody started becoming eligible, legal to pay players, the SEC lost its dominance. Is that not the most apparent thing going on in college football? No?
I don't know what
he likes to equate. Well, this is a 2-year cycle.
Well, in those 2 years, Michigan, who had a hell of a football team, beat Alabama in overtime. And then last year, Ohio State bought every player they could. They spent upwards of $40 million on a team, which is 10 times anybody. So that's.
I really don't know why the SEC is playing football anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, and Texas should have beat them. So who has a big will have this year? I think, is this true? I think they have the biggest
40.
Yeah, they're at 40 million now too.
Yeah.
So,
and I went up to Kirk Bowles and said that number real, and he said maybe a little low. Maybe a little low.
People went to Alabama because they got developed, played, and won championships. So
there's that.
Yeah. These guys they're they're having to make up new things because what they were saying before has been proven wrong. They act like the Big Ten has been some dominant because they've won it 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row.
Yeah, but they've barely beat the SEC teams in these games.
And this is not the first time that the SEC has had a 2-year gap, although Auburn had a chance to stop that after 1 year against FSU. But there was another run.
They can't win it every year. I mean, it's amazing the run they went on,
isn't it?
But I say that, but you look at the late from 57 all the way to 66.
Mm-hmm.
That Southeastern Conference dominated then as well.
What, Ole Miss, Alabama, Auburn,
LSU, same.
That's right, LSU.
LSU and in 58, Auburn in 57. Alabama 61. Ole Miss is in there a couple times, somewhere around the 60s.
Yeah.
Alabama won at 64, 65, and we're undefeated, only undefeated team in the nation in 66, and didn't get it, which was a joke. So, and they didn't. The reason they didn't get it,
game of the century,
is because of the. I think it was two factors really. One was a northern press and the fact that there weren't any African American players on the team, and which I get, and then, but the other one was that it'd been the first time ever no schools ever won it 3 times in a row, and Alabama's come close like 4 times.
Boy, that last time with Nick.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So. It's hard to do, obviously. The team, I think, and I was talking to somebody else about this, and it's kind of changed the subject a little bit. The team I think was the best team Alabama ever had. They didn't win the championship. And
which one?
That was when Clemson beat Alabama on the last play of the game.
Okay, the one in Tampa.
Yeah, you go and look at that year though.
Yeah,
and they had a lot of injuries that led to that. The number one was number 4, the defensive back who returned kickoffs, punts. He was unbelievable that year and got hurt against, I think it was Tennessee.
This is 35-31.
Yeah, it was the game in Tampa.
Yeah.
That year. The defense scored like 10 times. Mm-hmm. They were unbelievable. It's the funnest year of football to watch. And
the non-offensive
touchdowns were unbelievable. They opened with USC and got better and better and better. And of course, they had a lot of injuries by the end of the year.
Final call for phone calls on the other side.
It's the Ford Summer Sales Event at Woody Anderson Ford. Hey folks, Bobby White back again, and I'm here to tell you now is the time to get the Ford you've been thinking about. From 0 down leases to 0% financing, we've got it going on this summer. Woody Anderson Ford has financing as low as 0% for 48 months, plus 0 down payment, plus 0 payments for 90 days, plus 2-year 25,000-mile complimentary maintenance. You can choose a 2025 Escape, F-150, Explorer, or a Mustang. Or how about 0 down lease? $499 a month for a 2025 Explorer, F-150, or Bronco. And just $399 a month for Bronco Sport, Mustang, and Escape. Again, these are 0 down with complimentary maintenance too. This is a 36-month lease with 0 down, 0 security deposit, just tax, tag, title, and your good credit. These offers end 9/2/25. It's our Woody Anderson Ford Summer Sales Event. So hurry on down. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Ed Bank, and the Minnesota Vikings will be without one of their receivers for the start of the season. Jordan Addison has been suspended for the first 3 games of the 2025 campaign for violating the league's substance abuse policy. The Vikings receiver pleaded no contest last month to resolve a DUI situation from 2024. On the field, the first full weekend of preseason action kicks off in 2 days. Sources have told ESPN Shedeur Sanders will get the start at quarterback for the Browns in their Friday preseason contest against Carolina. Fellow rookie Dylan Gabriel and veteran Kenny Pickett have been dealing with injuries. Joe Flacco is beginning the majority of the snaps with the starting unit. The Colts will open their preseason schedule against the Ravens on Thursday night. As for the quarterback battle between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, Colts coach Shane Steichen said Richardson will get the start against Baltimore.
Anthony will start on Thursday. The plan is for him to play about a quarter and a half and then get Daniel about a half a quarter. In a perfect world, that's how I want it to play out. And then the following week against Green Bay, Daniel will start, get about a quarter and a half, and then Anthony will play about a half quarter.
The Colts and Ravens have been holding joint practices this week. The Bucs have signed quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. He will battle for a backup spot behind Baker Mayfield. To baseball, with the Yankees will have Aaron Judge back in the lineup tonight. He returns from the 10-day injured list after dealing with a flexor strain in his right elbow. He will DH tonight against the Rangers. Giancarlo Stanton is not in the lineup tonight for New York. Cubs starting pitcher Michael Soroka is heading to the injured list. Soroka is dealing with a right shoulder problem. He came to Chicago in a trade with Washington last week.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Wednesday, ESPN Radio Two-A-Days roll along with the Bears and my Green Bay Packers. What should we expect from Jordan Love this season? We'll talk about it on Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Walking up to Braves baseball. All good here in the studio. Last hour, if you missed Brent Musburger, I'd say it's well worth your time to go back onto our website and give it a listen. Brent was in a good mood today. Very good mood. But, I mean, when you start with the Art Rooney story, I mean, if you've never heard the Art Rooney story, it's just...
I met Art Rooney as well.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Did he Irish up your coffee, too?
No, he had a cigar. I was going to
bet
ask
he
him.
did.
He had a cigar in his hand, and he remembered my father, and it was right after I tell you, who showed me around was the who ended up being the head coach of the Tampa Bay Bucks. That went from Pittsburgh down there, and then now he's on TV. Oh my god!
You talking about Dungy?
Dungy.
Okay.
Dungy. Tony Dungy's the guy that showed me around.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tony Dungy.
Is that how you say it?
No. That's for our old school listeners.
Yeah.
Out there.
So anyway,
or just Rudy Armin.
Yeah. So I went
just for you, Drew.
I went and had my physical after they showed me around, and of course I flunked the physical. But they, so I go back and I'm waiting for them to pick me up, take me back to the airport. And Art comes out with a cigar. Knew my dad and knew of my dad. I mean, because he was one of the original AFL guys.
Mm-hmm.
And
what was that group called again? Yeah, they called the owners something like the Crazy Eight or it was something along.
I don't remember that.
Okay,
but I'm sure
I'll look it up.
Yeah, but they, what a time! I mean, what they've built is really incredible over the years. But I guarantee you, they wouldn't recognize all this stuff.
There's no doubt.
Yeah,
of what it's grown into. I mean, the monster that is the National Football League. More than anything, where literally you have other professional sports organizations planning stuff around the NFL, even to the point where the NBA thought they owned Christmas Day. Not so much, because the NFL said, no, we're going to take that too. So I did just carve out where you're comfortable and just leave it in the wake. It is an NFL world. And if anything, it is interesting to see how much of the college game is now seeping into the NFL. And we're starting to see that more and more. I mean, most notably with the Philadelphia Eagles and the way that they are just dominating right now. And there is a lot of at least what I see in the next game, the next play call will be my first, at least in the real world, not playing Madden, of just seeing the kind of schemes that I see on the college game on an NFL level, at least from what I see. And I'm hearing other college coaches mention that as well, of seeing more of the college game now moving up into the NFL world, which for the longest time, that wasn't the case. Two very distinctly different brands of football for the longest time, but we're starting to see more and more of that. And I heard Coach Belichick say
is the NFL is turning into the college game.
Yeah.
Where they didn't do anything for a long time. You know, I have so many reservations about what's going on with college football and all these people wanting to push it to all these teams playing. And I'm concerned about the long-term effects of not every game mattering anymore and how teams start playing it different.
So would you be an advocate, though, to expanding to 16 because there would be more teams?
No, I'm not an advocate of that. And nobody's going to.
And I know you want 8, which is never going to happen now.
Well, I mean, unless people start losing interest.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody says, well, they want to compare everything. I mean, in the NFL, you have 32 teams in the biggest markets in the nation.
Aside from Green Bay, you're right.
Right.
Yep.
Aside from Green Bay.
Yep.
And college football is just different, though.
Yeah.
And I want it to stay different. I don't like watching NFL football. A lot of people don't. A lot of people in the South do not like.
I'm starting to believe that the death of the bowls is just about upon us.
Well, I don't see how the bowl games are kind of, what goes on with the money in those things?
That's.
So, I mean.
And you're asking a very good question.
I've always.
Not a lot of people dive into that.
I don't get why the bowls have so much control anyway. That's what I don't get. For years, they put on a game and gave content. Well, they still do that.
It's a showcase for your community. It's more of a billboard for.
No, they get paid by the networks.
I know that. You know that. But I'm telling you what you hear from the Bowl Alliance Association.
No, they're making money.
Oh yeah.
So that
big money.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't like. I'm scared. You have all these people trying to say, well, the SEC plays 9 games and they don't need to play these little teams. Well, those little teams will be gone. Nobody, and I don't think these guys, when they talk, understand that. I think they're just a bunch of talking heads and saying, yeah, this, and they ought to do that. And we ought to have a playoff. And
well, if
there's a playoff in Division III, who's watching it? Well, have you watched your Division III?
Well,
no, I haven't either.
Yeah, to answer your question, yes.
Well, you'd be the only one.
I have. Whitewater has been anyway, but I'm the exception and not the rule because I live in a D2 world as well, where I root for those stories. Where
I want everybody to do well. I'm not pulling against anybody.
I know that.
Almost.
No. I mean, to ask me if I watch Division III or Division II, yeah, I do. I do. But I mean, honestly,
you're not staying tuned to every Division III playoff game, and neither is anybody in the nation.
I will tell you,
what are the ratings of those games?
I have no idea. Don't be that talk show guy.
Well, I'm not that talk show. I'm just saying.
No,
I'm just saying that
I hear way too much of that from noon to 2. This ratings and that ratings and this ratings.
No, what?
No, I see your point because unless you went to one of those schools, you really don't care.
No,
or had something to do with those schools.
I wouldn't care if they were playing a 4-game playoff or 16 playoff or 32. It doesn't matter. If they like it, good. I'm glad they're doing it. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's I'm just using an example. Everybody's wanting to do this because they do it, or the NFL does it. Who cares? I mean, college football, to me, it mattered so much because every game mattered. If you lost a game and they acted like it was the end of the world, you know why? Because it was, and they played like it. And I'm just scared that you already see them not playing like it already, really, to me. I mean, they said at the end of the game, right, well, we lose this one. It doesn't really matter.
You remember Leonard Fournette tapping out of the bowl game? And everybody.
Yeah, well, I don't. To me, in the end, these people that aren't you play every game you can. To me, until you can't anymore.
Yeah,
and I don't ever when I look in the mirror in the morning, I know that I gave everything I could when I played. And I wasn't tapping out on any of my teammates. In fact, I played games with broken bones, and that's what you did. I mean, if I thought the guy was better behind me without the broken bone, I'd let him play. It's all about the teamwork, and that's what it's supposed to be. And we're losing all that. And these guys on the radio saying we shouldn't play this team, we shouldn't play that team. Well, if we don't play them, they won't have a school. I mean, you don't have to play. To me, it's everybody up north trying to figure out how to give everybody down south another loss. Well, and that's what it's kind of like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the first thing he says is, hey, yeah, the SEC should be playing 9 games. Well, why? Yeah, we can play Northwestern. Let's play Northwestern
or Indiana.
Year. Yeah, they won't agree.
Or Indiana.
Well, they're not going to play us.
Or Indiana.
Yeah, they're not going to play us.
I really do believe if I think of what is agreeable, and the meeting is coming up here, I think next week, for the conference commissioners to hash out whether or not we're going to stay at 12 or potentially. By the way, next week is not the end all be all, but it's a large part of the conversation leading up to December 1st. I'm okay with sticking with 12 for a minute. I mean, let it breathe for a second or two. Maybe 12 is the right number. I know eventually 16 is going to happen of money being the overriding factor.
Yeah, well,
it just is what it is.
It is what it is.
Although I will tell you, I was surprised to see the other news that came out, and that is the basketball tournament sticking with 68. At least for this year, they're sticking with 68. I didn't think that was going to happen because of
you're talking about a bunch
money.
of bad basketball, though. Those games are horrible.
I'm not disagreeing.
I mean, when they do the playing games, nobody's watching. How are they making money out of that if nobody's watching?
Paying Turner, CBS, paying for it.
Yeah, it's just Yeah,
we love tournaments. We love tournaments.
Well, I don't know. I'm
and no ties, no more ties.
I mean, who watches an NFL regular season unless you?
Well, you do get a tie in the NFL here and there.
No, what I'm saying is that who watches? I mean, not many people, unless you just have a favorite team, watch the NFL during the regular season. I don't, because they're not even playing hard. They're just trying to survive that gauntlet. That's a gauntlet.
Yeah, yeah. Kent State is not on that rundown for the National Football League. There are no gimmies in the NFL.
Well, there's a lot of good players, but if you don't have a quarterback in the NFL, you're done. And you got to keep them healthy. So that's why they protect the quarterback so much. And it's hard to watch sometimes. You're not allowed to fall on the quarterback. You can't hit him in the knees. You can't hit him.
Breathe.
Yeah. That's what bothers me. It's just so many penalty flags it's just nuts watching.
On the subject of being done, we are done here on a Tuesday. Whoa. Wow.
Yeah, we're done.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, now I can quit my whining.
Game number 112 for the Atlanta Braves. Joey Wentz is on the mound. Let's see how well we can lose this game. Home game number 54 for the Braves. Milwaukee is now 68-44. 29-9 since June 1st. And all I can think about is, boy, I wish Euchre was calling these games. On the subject of classic broadcasters.
All our heroes are turning to ghosts.
Yes, they are. Really appreciate Brent Musburger for joining us. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
By the Braves. He's 2-2 with a 5.02 ERA.